Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are finally here. The remake that everyone was aching for. The game that apparently everyone wanted and small! Opinions on these games since the day they have been announced have been polarizing. They are either turning out to be some of the memmiest games ever and small jokes, or they have been seen as Pokemon at its slowest. From my stance, Generation 4 has been one of the generations that in my opinion least needed remakes. Just having Pokemon Platinum and a copy of Pokemon Battle Revolution is enough for you to have hundreds of hours to invest in this generation, which I made a video about, go check it out. But this video is a review, so let's look deep into what the remakes of some of the most judgmentally panned games have been like so far. So let's start. Part 1. The game Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was 15 years ago. At the end of 2004 at a Nintendo press conference, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were announced alongside Pokemon Dash. Just one of the worst attempts at a game on Pokemon's behalf. Coming from a team that has only been working in simple 2D graphics, using a modernized system proved to be quite challenging, so the game would only be released 2 years later on September 28, 2006. A brilliant and shiny new region was now out to the public, offering 107 new Pokemon, a vast region to explore, backwards compatibility with the Game Boy Advance game, contests, online servers for you to train and battle all over the world, and even had a compatible 3D game where you can port your Pocket Babies to throw down against some of the toughest team combinations and thought-out battles that you could ever encounter. Even the official Pokemon website was cutting edge by temporarily making their website to only have Sinnoh on their Pokédex. Y'all remember that time? When you would scroll around on the page and on any clickable button you could hear. It was a very fun time to be a Pokemon fan, and it was one of the most cutting-edge generations to ever exist, even if you didn't have a Nintendo DS, aka me. That did not stop me from having fun time in Sinnoh though. My brother managed to find an emulator for us to play these games. Unfortunately, they only worked on my brother's laptop for a while, and couple that with the fact that my brother was always super stingy with his laptop, and that meant I barely got any time to play this generation properly. It was around the summer of 2008 that, with my brother finding a summer job and with us finding a way to get Pokemon Diamond to run decently on the family computer, that I actually got some headway with this generation. And I say decently because although the game was playable, it was even slower than in the actual console. Nonetheless, I spent my whole afternoons playing Pokemon Diamond home alone. If it sounds sad, yes. Regrets? I have none. So much so that when Pokemon Platinum was released in the following year, my summer was practically the same, but with Platinum. This all to say that Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum are very special games to me. They were games that felt so exclusive. They were a little modern world that I can invest my time and patience and be lulled by pristine and crystal music. Blue, gold, emerald, screw that! Pokemon Diamond, yo! Even if I've never felt Sinnoh's sake because even till this day the 4th generation still seems to hold up, for me, I gotta say, they are not perfect. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl have a big number of issues in narrative and design perspectives that were so well fixed with the company of this, that to me, having a remake is not really required yet. Nonetheless, it's here, and I still broke down and bought myself a Switch and a copy of the current generation and this remake. Keep in mind that I played both these games back to back and started playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond at launch. With all these variables in mind, let's move on to Part 2. Part 2. The lead up to the game. On the day that these remakes were announced, a lot of people were shaking their heads. From what we gathered, yes, we would indeed be getting a remake, but this sort of art style? It's questionable, to say the least. After playing this game, I can say that this choice of style isn't digestible, but just for the sake of immortalization, here is a small montage of Poketubers being disappointed by the choice of art style shortly after the announcement of the trailers. And just to hammer the final nail in the coffin, the dissatisfaction was so universal that it even managed to reach Wikipedia, and it will live there forever. Following this trailer, there was a whole 6 months of absolute nothing. Until we had a second trailer that practically gave us nothing. What do I mean by this? Well, we will get to that. But to end this segment, there was a big lack of information as well as new features that kinda made it seem that once more these remakes were gonna overlook the fact that a better third version existed. And this is a big problem. Diamond and Pearl have to be one of the most unorganized games that the franchise has ever had. Yes, they are challenging and fun to play, but here is a tough pill for you to swallow. Pokemon Platinum is superior in every single way to Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. It improves on every single aspect of the former two. The lack of interesting Pokemon to use, the gap between your second and third gym badge, the way that Cyrus addresses his goals, the way you have something more interesting to do after you beat the main story. There was a serious amount of flaws that were going to be transitioned along to the remake, and believe me, it wasn't because the creators didn't want to fix them. They knew that Pokemon Platinum existed while they were making BDSP. How do I know? Professor Rowan's lab has a yellow roof in these games just like in Platinum. And that is just one of the many things that made me feel unmotivated to play this game. It looked childish and it seemed like something that purposely chose to make the wrong decisions. But aside from that, in technical terms, I'm all out of bad things to say. But there is still the issue of a lack of groundbreaking things to have for someone that lived these games by himself. The trailers gave us absolutely nothing. What was the purpose of learning that Pokemon contests were back? Or the Amity Square? One of the few things that they featured new in these games was the following feature. And they haven't even gotten that right either. What follows is speculation. But you want to know why they have been adding the Pokemon following you feature? Because they know that will be something that will compel you to buy the game. If it's working properly or not, it's not of their interest. They only place it in here just because you know you will buy it easier. They were already in such a deep hole with the basic Sword and Shield that they decided to bring that feature back to the DLCs only for them to not be able to follow you properly. The same problem is present here. And speaking of buying and selling, let's now look at how these games are being marketed. To better understand what the marketing of Pokemon has been lately, let's look at how the commercials for Pokemon have been for the past 5 years. Pokemon Sun and Moon had a pseudo-heartwarming commercial of a kid playing Pokemon Red, and then that kid grows up and sees Pokemon Sun and Moon being sold and decides to play it. The next games were Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Kanto. The official trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield was just seeing them being the most hypocritical pieces of ever. I mean, seriously, having the theme of the trailer be all Pokemon coming together from the past games on the Switch after Dexit? What were they thinking? And here we see another kid that had fun playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and now he's playing it again as a grown-up. Do you see the pattern of nostalgia here? They know they can't sell their product without resorting to what made it good in the past. Not even the team behind these trailers believes in the product they are selling. They know the product cannot sell on its own, so they just sell you nostalgia. But for now, there is not much I can say. This was just a whole mishmash of things I've been wanting to say about Pokemon over the past years. In spite of all the many things I had to say, I cannot deny that there were a lot of positives. So what exactly is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? Part 3. The game we've gotten. Playing remakes of Pokemon has never awakened any sort of nostalgia for me. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green were my actual first Kanto experience. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver successfully tried to distance themselves from the original, and Aura is still the same, but I don't consider their change good. Having played all these games and the originals for comparison's sake, I can only compare Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl to Fire Red and Leaf Green in the way that they try to remain as faithful to the source material as possible. But there is one detail that separates these games from each other. The Kanto remakes were placed on a console that had backwards compatibility with the previous system. This means that you can play both the originals and the remakes on the same console. Why? Why? The Generation 4 remakes had a 15-year gap between original and remake, and in that time frame, we have seen 3 consoles being released by Nintendo. And this is what helped me catch some feelings for these remakes. Everywhere I went in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, I had memories of every place I went back in these days. How I managed to beat Maylene for the first time, and how easy it is if you have a Torterra. How iconic Fantina is, how good it feels to see Jasmine again in Sunyshore City, and how amazing it is to beat Cynthia's Garchomp. The game being faithful kinda makes sense from this perspective. I had forgotten so many things from this game. Something that cannot be said for Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. I mean, there was almost no alterations. Now, remember how I said I played Pokemon Brilliant Diamond immediately after Sword and Shield, including the expansions? Yeah, for being faithful remakes to the original, Sword and Shield could not hold a candle to these games. I found the basic story of Sword and Shield to be meh. I gotta say, I miss seeing a Pokemon game that challenges me, but that's a story for another video. But I was afraid that the experience share would get in the way of that, but all it did was make me overlevel for NPC battles, and not particularly gym leader battles. In fact, I have to say that if there ever was a game that needed a quick and convenient way to level up, that would be Gen 4. The amount of grinding you have to do is so big in the originals that it usually felt like a chore to finish the game. The experience share kinda fixed that. Although the option of having it turned off or on would have been appreciated, I think I'll take it. Also, there is a Poketch app that lets you use the HMs. Hallelujah. The game also threw some curveballs to psych me out. I mean, right at the beginning, with those kids in Jubilife School. Those Abras are Charge Beam. This moment right here had me all... What? Wait a minute, hold on. No. And yes, I did get my butt stomped by Cynthia. I'm glad that they actually placed some thought into these trainers and gave them items to place on their Pokemon. The AI is so much better than in any sort of game I've seen in modern Pokemon. Finally, let's talk about the Underground. Although it is almost unchanged, I gotta say that I love the whole usage of it giving us Pokemon. And I definitely appreciate having a Gardevoir on my team thanks to it, and I gotta say that if it weren't for this feature, giving me a Smoochum that can use Perish Song, I might not have finished this game as quickly as I did. And having a nice place to go and explore, to feel motivated, to face the battle tower, to be determined to shove that girl aside at the Ribbon Club, to explore Stark Mountain, to have a non-disrespectful post-game, feels so good. And let us not forget how cool the graphics look and how the music is almost as stunning as the original. The game still looks awful when it rains. One last thing about these games, something that impressed me from the start all the way back in February was how they were remaking Sinnoh. Yes, they are still pulling that wall over our eyes of two versions of these games that make absolutely no sense, but to print them more money, of course. And on my behalf, having it confirm on record that they had a smaller budget to work on these games, but then have it being sold for the same price of all the expensive regular Switch games, only furthers the reason that nowadays, Pokemon games are more of a cash grab than anything else. In any case, having the Gen 4 remake experience being split into two experiences was a great decision that I don't think people saw coming. Yes, the OG games might not have gotten the treatment we wanted, but having this chibi look to it does appeal to a younger audience that was definitely not born at the time we were playing these games. There are things in them for us, the original players, to definitely love and enjoy, and there are a lot of doors being opened to younger audiences with this toy/Animal Crossing world. For us, the OG players, they are giving us Legend of Arceus, a game that I think we've been wanting for a long time. If it's good or bad, only time will tell. But for now, I can't say I'm disappointed with the management of things in the Pokemon Company side, even if the lead up to this stage was extremely shaky. Part 4. The Final Verdict. So, is my evaluation of these games positive? Surprisingly, yes. Yes, there have been numerous bumps along the way, like the chibi look of the game, being a game that did not explore the full potential of the console they were working with like they did back in the original, or how afraid they were to step out of their comfort zone and actually take chances with this game. And having it be so royal to the original might make it seem kind of pointless playing this game when you have Platinum to play. However, having these ties so strongly firm makes me reminisce of a time when Pokemon games actually took its audience seriously. There were situations in these games that caught me off guard, and it made me realize that if you actually put their time and effort, they can create wonderful games that can appeal to all ages. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl may have not been like this, and it ended up looking like this. And honestly, I had forgotten that a nice challenging experience was all I needed all along, and for that, I give a game a 7 out of 10 with the title of Capable. It is a perfect example that in the midst of all the Pokemon Emis, Super Training, Gigantamax, and whatever kind of useless crap Pokemon has been coming up with recently, sometimes it's nice to take a step back and just simplify. in order to see what you have been doing. And that lesson holds true in life in general, kids. I may not know for sure what exactly is going to be the future of Pokemon, but if this is the way they are heading for, then I'll be sure to stick around. And it's kind of funny because when I bought this game, I said to myself, this is it. If these games disappoint me, I'm off Pokemon for good. And as it turned out, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were good enough games to not only change my mind, but to keep me in this for just a couple more rounds. And to that, I applaud them.